Hey everyone, I'm Adam Sweet from Soul Astrology, and today we have a special Halloween edition. We are going to look at the birth chart of everybody's favorite young wizard, Harry Potter. All right, let me go ahead and share his chart, and I bet you're all wondering, how does he have a birth chart for Harry Potter? Well, I can tell you one thing, I did not get it off the internet. So Harry Potter's birth date is referenced in the books, July 31st, 1980, and that just happens to be the same birthday as the author J.K. Rowling. Now, I'm sure you who have read the book know that there are riddles and mysteries strewn throughout the entire story. And so when I saw that, I thought to myself, I bet you she imbued or embedded a little bit of herself into the main character there. Now, she's a very private woman and doesn't have her birth certificate listed anywhere. So, all of this information I got just from doing a bunch of research online. So, she was born um, in Yate, United Kingdom, according to the research that I did. And her being the creator of Harry Potter, I chose that as the birth location. Now, according to the information I found, she was born at 9:10 p.m. So I did a little magic trick and flipped that time to 9:10 a.m. for Harry Potter. And I think it completely works because when we go to the birth chart, we end up with Virgo rising, and the ruler and exaltation ruler of Virgo is Mercury. And we know from reading the story, Harry Potter is literally the most mercurial figure. He is a young magician, he is witty and quick, and he survives death and actually comes back from death multiple times. Now, Mercury is Hermes in ancient astrology, and Hermes is the psychopomp, the guide of souls to the underworld, and is a magician. So that all tracks for me in terms of Harry Potter being Mercury. Now, if we want more information about Harry Potter and his character, temperament, and personality, of course, we can always go to the first house and we can look at that sign that was rising when the native was born. Now, Virgo is a sign that wrestles with duality. So it is a double bodied sign, and often Virgos will have a character arc that explores the dual nature of things like dark and light, stained versus clean, pure versus impure. And those are all things that track with Harry Potter's story throughout the books. He is literally stained by the lightning scar on his forehead, put there when Lord Voldemort attempted to murder him as a baby, and he has to wrestle with that dual nature of dark versus light, with the fact that he survived when his parents perished trying to save him. So that all tracks for me too. Now let's go ahead and look at the luminaries. So we can always look towards the sun for a universal signification of the plot. And in this case, the sun is in the 12th house. Now, the 12th house in ancient astrology was the house of hidden enemies and isolation. Now, the plot line of the Harry Potter series, Harry Potter basically is attempted to be murdered by a hidden enemy, Lord Voldemort, when he's a baby. And after that, he is essentially moved in with his aunt and her family who do not like him. He is forced to sleep in a cupboard under the stairs and lives an incredibly isolated life from age basically 0 to 11. Then, when he goes to Hogwarts, everybody knows him as the boy who survived. He is somewhat famous. And as we all have seen from famous people, that can often be a very isolating experience. Then he is continuously through his entire life up until age 17 battling the hidden enemy of Lord Voldemort. So I think that all tracks really well too. Now, if we go over here to the other luminary, the moon. The moon can represent a lot of things, universal signification wise. It can represent the setting of the native's life. It can also represent mother, as well as the native's body and psychology. So if we look at that as his mother, it is in an opposition to Saturn. Saturn is clearly Lord Voldemort. Saturn is the planet that represents death and darkness, and Lord Voldemort is the evil wizard who wants death and destruction, and for his followers, the Death Eaters, to basically take control over the entire wizarding world and the world of the Muggles, the human world. So, when we see a planet in an opposition is of the nature of Saturn. The moon is mother in this example, and his mother dies trying to save him. When she does that, she sacrifices herself, and Harry Potter is imbued with ancient magic of a mother's love, which then basically renders him invincible against the killing curse, thus saving him and shattering Lord Voldemort's soul into all of his Horcruxes, which he then has to basically find a way to rematerialize and continue on fighting Harry Potter. Pretty crazy story, pretty beautiful symbolism we see in the chart. So let me kind of break that down a little bit for you here. So mother opposite Saturn, pretty clear. That's the death of the mother. Now, if we look at the moon as Harry Potter's body and psychology, well, the moon is actually separating from that opposition. And in ancient astrology, whenever a planet was closely separating from a malefic and a difficult aspect, that was thought to represent whatever that planet represents being escaped or being spared from the worst. And so we can look at that same moon as Harry Potter's body is literally spared from death. Now, in terms of psychology, it's in an opposition to Saturn, Lord Voldemort, and his psychology is definitely in an oppositional tension with the god of darkness and death. In fact, when Lord Voldemort dies, a little piece of his soul gets basically imbued into Harry Potter's soul or embedded into Harry Potter's soul. And then Harry Potter becomes the seventh Horcrux and has to carry around part of Lord Voldemort, thus having a psychological connection with Lord of Voldemort that he does not really enjoy, but ends up being beneficial in the end. Also, there's a lot there, but I think it's all tracking. Also, the moon is in a square to Venus. Venus is the planet of love, and his mother dies. So squares are of the nature of Mars. Squares sever or separate things. So his mother is separated from her body through love, thus saving Harry Potter. And that same Venus is separating by a square to Saturn. And that same love that saves Harry Potter and kills his mother also severs Lord Voldemort from his body. So there's a lot there. It's a pretty crazy story. It's a beautiful story against evil and good, and how love ultimately prevails and is the most powerful magic in all of the world. Love is, which I think is so beautiful. And I think it's amazing that you can see that story playing out here in the birth chart. The last little bonus thing that I'll throw in here just for fun is there is a aspect in ancient astrology called a malefic enclosure, which is basically when the two malefics are casting rays on either side of a planet. So we have Mars casting a square to 11 degrees of Cancer, and Saturn casting a sextile to 23 degrees of Cancer. And whenever we see a planet that is enclosed by 7 degrees on either side of a malefic like that, we have that planet being considered to be in a malefic enclosure, which is a very difficult condition for a planet to be found in. Remember, Mercury here is Harry Potter. So Harry Potter is enclosed by malefics. And in ancient medieval astrology, this was called besiegement. And I think that is a perfect term here to describe the condition that Harry Potter finds himself in the stories, is he is literally besieged by darkness and evil and violence and has to continuously fight that off for the entirety of the story, basically. So eventually, prevailing at the end, and all is good in the wizarding world. So I hope you all found that very fun and intriguing and interesting. And if there's any other Harry Potter fans out there, especially astrologers, drop me a comment or a line. Let me know what you think if you saw anything else. I mean, we could talk about this chart for hours, but I wanted to keep this kind of short and fun today. So happy Halloween, everybody, and take care out there. Be safe, have fun, and thanks for watching. Bye.